Okay. Hi, folks. My name is Craig Nakashian, and I am the Dean of the Honors College here at Texas A&M University-Texarkana, and I'm very happy to welcome you to our first interview with I know it's exciting, with our honors faculty. This is a series where folks will get an opportunity to get to know our honors faculty a little bit. And I'm very happy to be joined with one of my colleagues, Dr. Jiao, who is an assistant professor of economics here at A&M Texarkana. And we're just going to have an opportunity to kind of, conversate a little bit and let you get to know who Dr. Jiao is. So we're just going to start with tell us essentially a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what brought you to A&M Texarkana, how long you've been here, that sort of stuff.
Right, so hello everyone. My name is Jiao, and you can tell that I'm originally from China, and I came to the United States in 2008, start my graduate study in economics. I started my master in Wichita State, which is in Wichita, Kansas, and then got my PhD from Kansas State University in Kansas as well. So I consider Kansas as my second hometown because I spent 14 years, I think, there. Wow.
Yeah, wow.
That's
14
a
years.
long time, yeah. And actually, I joined A&M Texarkana in 2023.
Yeah.
It's kind of been seen as longer than that. I feel like that.
I
Because
would
I have a
definitely.
couple of good folks like Dr. Nakasion and who give me a lot of good advice. And it
Uh,
seems like I've been here for a while. And the reason I joined here is because of commitment to foster the close student-faculty engagement and providing high quality of education in a very supportive environment. So you see that it's kind of a casual way. Every faculties have open door policies, right? Even though we don't have strict rules,
right.
faculties are welcome the students all the time. So the opportunity to work with a group, I'm very fortunate to have a group of very highly motivated students in my class.
Mm.
So I think that is the good benefits for me. And while contributing to the growth of the academic programs, you can see that we're still adding a lot of new programs in this
Yeah,
year's and especially in our economics and finance programs. So we have the MBA with the neo concentration quantitative finance.
right.
So we just initiate that, and yes, and it's very exciting. So, and those are very appealing, especially that A&M Texarkana emphasize on interdisciplinary collaboration and applied learning aligns very well with with a teaching philosophy, which is focused on helping students apply their theoretical concept to the real world phenomena. So I think I'm very excited to be part of this community as I can mentor students and in the meanwhile, I can engage in meaningful research that contribute to the region and beyond.
Very thorough. And yes, absolutely. I mean, I agree with everything. And I forgot that you only got here in 23. That's
It seems
amazing.
so long, right?
It does, but in a very good way, in the sense for our listeners and viewers, I suppose. Um, in that very brief period you've been here, not even 2 years, you very much have made a major impact on A&M Texarkana to the point where, yes, I think people would be quite surprised. Oh, she's only been here, yeah, less than 2 years. Crazy. Because you are exactly the kind of faculty that we want to have, and also to join the honors faculty. So I guess we'll skip to that one. What kind of attracted you to joining the honors faculty and working in the honors college?
So I think that is a very good question. So the reason I just mentioned before, I love working with students. So honors provides the opportunity to work with especially highly motivated students. When I talk to my honor, I have a couple of honor students in my class. They are very highly motivated. They have very clear goal, at least to me. They actually have a well structured goals. So what they're going to do in the future, either going to start their own business or go to the graduate study. So for those those are to me, it's very intellectual, curious student. Oh, they are eager to challenge themselves, which makes me very excited. I'm always been there. I'm trying to help them to achieve their goals. And I also there's other thing I want to mention. Honors college foster the environment where students can engage in critical inquiry, interdisciplinary thinking, and also independent research. I love that.
Yeah.
Those are what aligns very well with my teaching philosophy as well. So I appreciate all the honors classes engage deeper exploration of complex issues and promote analytical
Yeah.
rigor, allowing me to guide students as they apply economic principle to real world challenge.
Yeah. Right, and that's a hallmark certainly of our university in general, which I appreciate. One of the things that attracted me here, though this is not about me, is that small sort of student faculty ratio, I think, which is important. And in honors, getting to do that kind of on the one-to-one level is again what attracted me to that. So that yeah, that raises the other question. What made you want to become an economics professor? Not
Well,
that
that's
economics isn't great, by the way. Yeah, it's fantastic. What was it about it that attracted you?
Well, even though it's very interesting, even though we're actually listed in the business division. So
Hmm.
to me, economics is more like the social science. So I have to clarify a lot of times because people come to me, so what is economics? Can you tell me that what stock should you pick? So no, that is not economics. It's more
Right.
like finance issue, right? So economics is more about making choices because we are facing a lot of restriction in terms of times and money, right? So economics is about it's all about making the most effective or efficient
Hmm.
decision. So it's about decision making. So I'm very interested about understanding how policy, economic, and political policy shape individual behavior and societal outcomes. So
Right.
during my undergraduate research, I particularly interested in how economic models. We have a lot of models. Demand supply is one of the most phenomenal one, right? We have so many more. Could be used to explain real world kind of the challenge, such as income inequality and the labor market dynamics and why still there's a wage gap between men and women still now. So that's a lot of things actually needs the economic foundation to use can be explained, right?
Hmm.
So, and as I get deeper into applying micro, actually it's kind of individual behavior compared to macro. It's kind of looking at the economy as a whole. You're going to see that's a lot of Federal Reserve issues. That's the macro. So the
Yeah.
micros, we're actually interested in labor, work, and a lot of kind of the welfare issues. So I'm actually doing more about the interdisciplinary study, and about instead of looking into some traditional economic variables, I'm looking at the cultural and also social norms. So can be tied to sociology, psychology, and the behavior. So
Yeah.
those are the trivial factors has been neglected study in economics in the past. So actually, I'm interested in how those factors contributing to decision making.
Hmm. That's interesting. Yeah, I'd never really thought of economics as that study of decision making necessarily, right? As a historian by training, we always had to know a little bit about economics, just enough to be dangerous with it. But I certainly, yeah, absolutely agree that it is similar in the sense to other social sciences and very kind of broader than we often think. It's not just yeah, it's not just supply and demand. Granted, most of what I know about economics comes from watching movies like Trading Places and Ferris Bueller's Day Off in the 80s. So my understanding might not be great, which is why we have you. So getting back to the honors student side of it, right? Because here we don't have a standalone economics major necessarily, but we do have economics as a part of a variety of other kind of majors, which is useful. So when you're working with honors students, either in a class or one-on-one, what do you want? What would you like these students to get out of their experience, both at A&M, but maybe more specifically as members of the honors college? Like, what would you like students to really kind of be able to take away from that?
So I think the most important experience I want to tell my students beyond mastering content knowledge, I hope them learn to ask thoughtful questions and especially evaluate evidence objectively. And also I want them to engage with diverse perspective, open to the diverse different views, right? And this is, I think, the most lesson I want my student to know and get out of the honor class. And I also encourage them to apply theoretical concept, which is, I think, most important to my teaching philosophy, to
Hmm.
apply a theoretical concept to the real world problem, fostering a deeper understanding of how their academic work can be connected to the societal changes. And I want honor students specifically build confidence in articulating questions and also contributing to meaningful discussion within and beyond the classroom.
Hmm. Yeah, and I love that idea certainly of applying the theoretical to the practical, right? The theoretical to the real world. I know that we've had honors projects in the past where students have had that opportunity. I think we did one in business years ago, and that was really really interesting of like management theory in the marketplace and so forth. But okay, so that gives us an idea, sort of professionally, of what motivates you, what makes you come to work, and all of that. And I know we don't have a huge amount of time because these are meant to be just kind of brief, introductions to our honors faculty. But I have a couple of other kind of just get to know you sorts of questions. So you lived in Kansas
Yes,
for
I do.
yeah, 14 years. That's a long time in Kansas.
That's a long time.
Um, what would you say your favorite part of living in Kansas was?
Well, I think people there are very friendly.
Okay.
So I have very good experience. You can see that as an international student, the language barrier is kind of the first thing. Is that right? So we have a lot of cultural shocks and language barrier. So
Hmm.
one of the programs Wichita State provided us is to helping international students with the local American families.
Mm.
So I still have American families in Newton, Kansas, so which is I think only 30 minutes from Wichita. They actually come and drive to see me every weekend. They used to do that. They are very good people.
Every
And they
week.
actually brought me to the grocery stores and also brought me to visit a lot of sites in Wichita.
Hmm.
And they also brought me to church and introduced a lot of their friends to me.
Well, that's
So
great.
which actually helps me building the connections very well. So those are the parts I miss most.
Sure, that's fair. My one experience as an international student was in Northern England, which is foreign, but not,
Not as much
not as
as,
much.
yeah.
There's a bit of a language barrier as I learned, but yeah, I would have no chance of conducting my life in a second language. I can barely conduct my life in my first language. So, is there anything else you wanted to share? Any other kind of personal bits of who you are or anything? Feel free to not have any, but
I think yes. Well, I want to share one last piece actually. So if I were a student, sometimes I actually think back, if I were a student, what kind of the lessons I want to give my future generations, right?
sure.
Or maybe some 20 years of me, right? 20 years ago of my young. And actually, as I would say, embrace challenge and view mistakes as the opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
Because I see that a lot of students they fail to raise questions, even though they kind of struggle with some of the concept. They maybe kind of feel shy and then a little bit intimidated to raise question in front of groups of people, right? So don't feel that. And until now, I see that the learning is the process of actually having a lot of setbacks and revisions, right? So for those ones, when we overcome and kind of the setbacks, so we are building resilience.
That I love that. Yes, and I'm going to steal that as a question to ask our future honors faculty as well, because I think that yeah, we had a workshop yesterday with a couple of our honors alum who have gone on to become doctors of different kinds, and one of the things they mentioned was also when they were students, getting over that uh, lack of comfort with using the resources around you. Reach out to your faculty, reach out to others, ask questions, that sort of thing. And yeah, I think that's a great way of looking at it, building resilience. Because that's true. You're going to have to be resilient in life. And I used to always tell my students one of the great lessons I learned was how to fail. Because I failed a lot as mostly a high school student. And that was useful, right? When you've already passed through failure, it does give you a little bit of an insight. But anyhow, thank you for joining us. We will go ahead and get this up on our YouTube channel, and folks can watch it. And yeah, thank you for also being our first one of these and seeing kind of how it went. So I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.